Hey everyone, and welcome to my craft room. Hang on, just turn this light off. I don't think it adds. Anyway, hi everyone, welcome to my craft room. As I said in my invite, I'm going to today be crafting with some new products. These are the Parisian Beauty and Forever Blossom stamp sets that are in the up and coming 2020 mini catalogue, which we used to call the Occasions catalogue, but these are new sets that will be available in January to customers. Just bear with me, I'm going to catch up with my iPad so I can see what's happening as you guys can. Here we go, hopefully the sound's down. Here we go, okay, cool. So anyway, I'm going to, if you were watching last week, I started crafting with these two sets and made one card, and then had to disappear because I was having a class at the same time, and it got exceptionally rowdy. Shout out to my beautiful ladies who were at the class. Yeah, we had such fun. Hopefully everyone could hear that we were having fun during the class. Anyway, so I'll make the second card that I actually planned on making that day, and it's the second card that my class ladies actually made, so it really was a fun afternoon. And the second card I'm going to make is using some old pages from a book. I don't know if anyone saw the post I put down in my page earlier today, but my son's fiance, it's probably just easier to call him his fiance, my daughter-in-law is making some book boxes, and she's throwing away lots of pages, so as soon as I saw them I thought, wow, I can actually make some cards with that. So the second one I'm going to make is I'm going to make one with one of the pages from the books that she's otherwise throwing away. Anyway, so let's make this one first, get this one out of the way since I was supposed to do this last week. So as I say, these two sets are very new. They're going to be available to customers on the 3rd of January. If you love them like I do and can't wait, if you join my team, you can actually pre-order them from the 3rd of December, so which I think scarily is only next week. So if you love them, want to join up, the joining offer itself is worth it. But if you can grab these in your starter kit, that's a win-win. Anyway, so this card uses the glorious designer series paper, which comes with the Parisian suite, with the Parisian Beauty suite. Here's one sheet of it. I think I showed you some sheets of it last week, and it's just glorious. It's got the beautiful blossoms. It's a pool party background. It's got petal pink, and it's got a sort of nice pattern on the back as well. But this is the real good one here. Anyway, so I've got a pool party card base, which is my normal size card base, 8 1/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches, scored in half to make a base card. I've got a slightly smaller panel layer for the inside, and then I've got for the front the panel of the designer series paper, which is an 1/8 of an inch smaller all around, so that's going to eventually sit there. Then I've got a panel of, again, pool party, and a smaller panel of Whisper White. So the small panel of the Whisper White, I just cut, that is, I've got to remind myself, 2 7/8 by 4 1/2, and so the slightly larger panel of pool parties, 1/8 of an inch larger than that. Okay, so cool. So what I'll start doing is actually with the stamping. So what I'm going to do is, I thought the white was a little bit stark for the design I was going for, so I thought I'd do some watercolor background, and using the plain Whisper White, it's fine, but it does tend to ruin the structure of the paper a little bit. So what I've got here is not quite white, but it's our shimmer white. And so one of the ladies who was at my house last week, Sue, if you watch the replay or on live, actually said, why didn't I use this instead for the water painting, for the watercoloured background? So I'll give that a go this time. Okay, so I need my aqua painter, which is here, which has got some red. I might have to just give that a bit of a clean. It's got some red on it from this morning. just get that out. I've forgot a wipe here. Just get rid of some of that red. Had a watercolouring day. I can't see any comments there, so I don't know if anyone's actually... I can see there's some people watching, but there's no comments, so I'm not being rude. I just can't see any at the moment if you have commented. Okay, so I've got my Pool Party ink, and I'm actually going, because it's the old style ink pad, you can actually give it a little bit of a squeeze and it transfers some colour to the lid. Not so easy with the new ones. So I'm going to do a very, 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 very light watercolour wash. So I need quite a lot of water from my pen, from my aqua painter, and I'm just going to just give it the finest colour. So nothing very, just to take a bit of the starkness out of the white. So you can do that as much or as little as you like, or not at all, it's up to you. Okay, so that's probably enough. Okay, so that's just the slightest Pool Party white wash, or watercolour wash there. So I might just let that dry a little bit. I'll pop that aside, or I can bring in my heat gun. So what you also need for this one is a couple of the blossom design. So this is from the Forever Blossoms, and it's got this beautiful blossom, bunch of blossoms here. Just grab some black and a block. I had a block here somewhere that was big enough for it. Where is it? Oh, excuse me, here it is. One of the nice big long ones fits just beautifully there. And a bit of black ink. Now this, when you get yours, this one is quite a, it's a different sort of design stamp. Forgive me as I wobble. Yeah, it has light and dark sort of parts in it, which struck me at first, or it might just be mine, but it's quite a light one. It's nothing too drastic. So just stamp that. And it does come with a die, so you don't have to fussy cut, which is really nice. So there's the stamped flower. You can see it's got the light and the dark already there. So this is going to have to be, I'll colour this one with blends, with Petal Pink and Old Olive, and colour that. And you'll be pleased to know that I've already done them all here, so you can see. So I won't make you watch me colouring in. So there, I've coloured in 2 of those blossoms with Old Olive, light Old Olive on the leaves, and Petal Pink. So I've got dark Petal Pink in the centres and light Petal Pink on the outside. If you watched last week, these are exactly the same as I did for the other Z fold card that we did last week. Okay, so I've got 2 of those. And I'll see how dry that is. It's getting there. I might actually just dry that with my heat tool just on the first setting, and drying it from the top, and hopefully we'll make it curl up the other way. Hey Janice, thanks for joining me. Hey Chrissy Ann, nice to see you again today. I did a video for our business group this morning, and Chrissy Ann was there watching. Don't know if anyone got anything out of it, but it was fun to do. Okay, so I'll just flatten that out a bit. Okay, so here we are. It's nice and dry now, and it's mostly flat. If Sue is watching, she's put me on the right track there, because that is a really nice colour there. It hasn't boggled or balled or anything like that. It's really nice. Okay, so we've got our piece of background here. So we'll get the Eiffel Tower from the Parisian Beauty set. We'll get the Eiffel Tower here. So the look I was going for with this card is something like a scene with the Eiffel Tower in the background and some spring blossoms in the foreground. If you go to my business page, I actually found a picture on Pinterest that was actually a a real live picture what somebody'd taken with the Eiffel Tower in the background, and some beautiful blossoms which are in the grounds around the Eiffel Tower, sort of in the foreground. And that's what I was trying to sort of copy or emulate with this card. So anyway, so in my Eiffel Tower I'm going to stamp in, can't remember now, in Smoky Slate, and I'm going to stamp off once, so it's only very, I want it to look like it's in the distance. So I'm going to stamp it off once, and I'm going to stamp it slightly to the side and down low, so the whole tower isn't in the shot, isn't in the picture. So I'm taking it to the right and down a little bit, just so that you just see the top of it. There we go. So hopefully you can see that. It looks like we've got a blue sky and the tower is sort of off, almost in the mist in the background. So hopefully you like that. Okay, so there's not much to do now but layer up, which is really nice. Nice and simple card. As I said, we've got our pool party card base and our beautiful designer series paper, so I'll pop those together first. Just some glue around the edge. And pop that on. So I think those colours, the pool party and the petal pink, are lovely. Probably not colours that I would have naturally put together, but obviously Stampin' Up know better than me because they look glorious together. They've got a champagne gold emboss, which is really lovely as well. So we've got our smaller panel of pool party that fits beautifully just behind our little watercolour background. So I'm going to add that to that. Just like that. And I'm going to put this panel up on dimensionals just to give it a bit of interest, give it a bit of 3D happening. So we've got that one. I'll grab my dimensionals if I can find them. Okay, we've got the end of a dimensional here, so as we know we can always use the edges of our dimensionals. So just cut them off and pop them on. There we go, nice square edges, which is nice. Bit of a corner here, so I'll pop that down in the corner. Yes, we had such a lovely class last week. It was really nice and relaxing. I didn't plan on it being a class, but when I got my brand new products from my pre-order from Onstage, it just seemed the natural thing to do, to actually have a bit of a play with them. And we had a lovely time. So if you live in the Hobart area and you'd like to have a bit of a play with some new product, I've got another date on the 15th of December. So really it's designed just as a come and have a bit of a experiment, a bit of a play, especially for new stampers. But you know, if you want to have a play with some of the new products, then they'll be here for you. Can't promise I'll make another video. That was a bit hectic. Okay, so I'll pop this one on as central as I can on the top there. Yeah, so we've got a little bit of height there, and then I'm going to put these two beautiful blossoms over the top, sort of like they look there, like they're in the foreground, sort of as we walk towards the Eiffel Tower through the blossom trees, or trees of blossom, cherry trees, I suppose they are. Okay, so I've got one at the top, sort of arching across the top. For some reason it felt important that I saw the top of the tower, so I'm sort of positioning this one up here so that I can see the top of the tower, and then the second one across the top, across the front there. And so what I did last week, and I think it worked quite well with the ladies who were here, I'm not actually gluing that down on that panel at all. I'm just going to attach it with dimensionals, with foam squares at the points where it overlaps. I'll show you in a minute what I mean. And because I'm not actually gluing it down over that panel, it sort of seems to float, and it's really quite effective. It sort of floats above the scene, and you can almost imagine that that they are actually, I'm here gesturing towards my face, which isn't probably very good for you on the camera. It actually looks like you're walking through the trees and they're sort of hanging in air in front of you. Anyway, so that's what I think. So what I'll do is I'll grab the small dimensionals, and I'm just going to, as I say, put them on where the tree actually overlaps the little panel. So see, there's a leaf here that's right over the edge, so I'll pop a dimensional on there. And what else have we got? Down here it overlaps here, so I'm going to pop another dimensional here. Of course it means it's going to be a little bit delicate, so I wouldn't go being too rough with it, but as I say, I think it gives it a sort of almost a sort of ethereal, there's a big word for today, sort of look. Magical. Yeah, Janice, you're right. Probably magical, like Paris in the spring. I know we went to Paris in the summer and it was just damn hot, which is really all I could say for it then. But it was lovely, nonetheless. Okay, so this one I'm going to obviously put some on here. The blossoms at the top and that leaf at the top. So just up here. So just anywhere where it's going to contact with the lower layer of our card and not the upper layer of our card, if that makes sense. And this one here, I'm going to pop this one on first because the other one's going to go over the top. Okay, come off you. Saw a lady on a video the other day. She was actually taking these things off with two hands. She had a left hand and a right hand, and she was going choo, choo, choo. I thought that is impressive, very impressive, whereas I struggle to get them off with both hands on the one. Okay, so we'll pop this one. Oh, wait a minute, I wanted him up there, so it's just over the top there and there. Take that one off. That one's not in quite the right position. Take that one off. I'm going to cut one in half because it's only very tiny where it's overlapping. Pop that on. Just bear with me for a minute. Right on the very top there. That's better. Okay, so that's the top layer, and then this bottom one. Take these little things off and lay that on. Stick. Just like that. There we are. So there we have our two bunches of blossoms on there, and you can see that it actually looks like it's hovering above the scene because I haven't attached it down. It's only attached in these edge places. I think that's quite nice. I like it anyway. Okay, so that's the front. Also some bling. We want some of these beautiful. These are also in the new catalogue next year. The champagne rhinestones. So they are like so beautiful. So I'm just going to grab a couple of those. Just the small ones. They come in 3 sizes. There's lots of these little small ones, and then a next size up, and then a large one as well. So there's lots of the small ones, so I tend to use those first. I'll just grab my, if I can find it, my tool. doesn't seem to be here. There it is. And just a couple of little ones. Oh, a couple of little rhinestones just sneaking just into the scene. Here and there. Some people have the knack for positioning these things. I have to tend to go trial and error a little bit. But hey, it's bling. How can you go wrong? Okay, so we've got those on there. How's that? That's quite nice, I think, if I do say so myself. And the inside, we've got our little panel here for the inside. It's got some moisture on it. Pop that down there. And I think here I will just put another blossom stamp. There we go, just here in the corner, coming in from the edge, wherever it's got to. Where have you got to? Here. Just this one. And I might actually have it in, this is my petal pink. Just really, really, really faint petal pink. Oh, here we go. That is my petal pink, isn't it? Yes. Very, very faint petal pink. Just sort of coming up there. I probably should have done this before I stamped, before I put that on, but not thinking ahead. There we go. So that's just pop that in there, just bringing the design in from the outside. Okay, so that is that card. As I say, this was the one I meant to do last week, but the class sort of got away from me in a good way. So that's the second one. As I say, if you really, really love these sets, they come available to customers on the 3rd of January. Or join my team and take advantage of pre-order from the 3rd of December. Okay, so that's my first card for today with the new products. Okay, the second card will be using products from the current catalogue. Plus, as I said, some of the pages my son's fiance, my daughter-in-law, has been discarding while she makes her book trinket boxes. Okay, so these are the pages of the book that she has been cutting out to make her boxes. And when I saw them, I thought, we can't throw all those away. They are just so nice. So what can we do with them? So I do suggest you be a little bit careful with the books you use. I've had to sort of be a bit careful with these. Not that she sort of bought these books because they were hardback and cheap, but when you actually read the story, this one is a little bit raunchy. So I won't be giving these cards to my grandmother or anything like that, or anyone who can read fundamentally, because they are a little bit, in places, probably a bit R-rated. But anyway, she didn't realise that when she bought the book. As I say, she bought it because it was cheap and it was a hardcover. So I'll use them for this, but as I say, that's about as far as they'll go. And I've been a bit careful with the pages that I've picked. Okay, so to make this one, I am using a very vanilla card base, same size as I've mentioned previously. I've got a Mary Merlot panel that's cut a 1/4 of an inch smaller all round, so it's a slightly larger border, and I've trimmed a panel of the book page so that it fits nicely in there. So you basically have to, when you're using smaller books, obviously you're going to have to cut these first and then build your layers around it, because you can never be sure what sort of size page you're going to get, whether they're damaged on the edges and stuff like that. So this is one that came out quite nicely. I've used a few stamps for this one, but this time I'm going to be using this beautiful magnolia from our Good Morning Magnolia set. Here it is here. It's beautiful. It's from our annual catalogue, so it's available to everybody at the moment, and it's actually a 2-part set. So this one has the beautiful magnolia and the other one has some smaller features, but this is the one I'm going to use. Okay, so I've got the big magnolia here. I've only set it on a smaller block because I'm only going to be using the middle of it, so it doesn't really matter that it overlaps a tiny bit. So we've got our page, our book page here, and I'll just stamp up our magnolia. So we don't want it too dark, but you do want it completely covered, so I wouldn't go too mad with the ink, but just make sure you get all the detail. I'm going to pop that onto our book page, sort of roughly central, doesn't matter too much. There we go. So even that is just pretty on its own, I think. I mean, it's not got, I'm not going to leave it there, but I think that's quite effective, really, just as a sort of an image on the written page, which is really nice. But I'm going to do a little bit more, as I usually do, and I'm going to use my aqua pen, and this time I'm using, if I can find it, I had it out specially, I'm using, here we go, right in front of me, Merry Merlot and Old Olive, and I'm going to actually paint our flower with these, and my aqua pen, aqua painter, we don't work at aqua pen from. Okay, so with these ones, with the newer stamp blocks, what I tend to do when I want to watercolour is to grab a spare block, just dump it briefly in the ink, so you've got a fair bit of ink on your block, and then you can use that as the palette for your watercolouring. So just add a bit of water to it from your ink, from your pen, your painter, and just watercolour. Trying to work out where the edges are. Yeah, so the flower obviously I'm going to do in the Merry Merlot, because that'll bring out the colour on of the layer I'm using. And I've used the Very Vanilla because it's got that beautiful sort of vintage look to it, which is what we get with these pages, because they're old books. There goes my dog barking. Okay, so I'm just painting that. I'm trying to, and look, to be even honest, it doesn't matter if your painting is a bit rough. In fact, it's quite effective. I find it's quite effective if it is. It just also gives that sort of antique, sort of oldie worldy look as well. Okay, so there's the flower, and I'll just wipe off my block. And then I'll use my Old Olive, which is still in one of the old stamp pad designs, so I can just use the lid. It just gets rid of some of the colour off my aqua painter, and grab my Old Olive, and obviously this is going to be the leaves. Okay, so just painting the leaves and the stem. Okay, just the top one. I don't think this page has got anything rude on it, so I don't have to worry too much. But as I said, I think she's just picked the books to get the covers and the look of the spine and the pages, and it was a little bit saucy. There you go. So there's our beautiful magnolia. Just get rid of some of that green off my aqua painter and pop the lid on. Okay, so not much really to it from here. We're just going to layer it up. So I've got a layer, oh no, one more thing, just to give it that extra sort of antique feel. I do have a dauber here, which I will put in my Merry Merlot ink. If I get the lid off. And I'm just going to give the piece of the page, the book page, just the slightest sort of highlight of colour. Just, I suppose there's a technical term for that, but I don't know what it is. Somebody can enlighten me. Just give it a tinge of colour around the edge, just to make it look like it's slightly aged and colouring. It takes a bit of this darkness from the edge. So just very lightly all the way around. Yeah, nearly there. There we are. So that's just taken a bit of the edge, softened the edges a little bit there, just carried on that antique sort of feel that we get from using the old book. Okay, so now I will glue it down, and you could add some ribbon. I'll show you a couple more that I've made here earlier today. I'll show them to you. I've used some ribbon and that sort of thing. This one's fairly plain. Okay, so just pop that onto the Merry Merlot layer. And then that onto our card base. Pen glue's just about had it. Oh, come on you. Here we are. And pop that onto our card base. And I think that's really sweet. Now, that's hardly taken me any time at all, and you know, I think it's very effective. Okay, I do have a sentiment stamped from this same stamp set, the Thanks. I've popped that on another piece of Very Vanilla, just in black ink. What I thought I might just do to carry on the theme is grab my dauber again, if I can find it. Just grab my dauber and do the same thing, just to give that a bit of softness as well. Just very lightly around the edge. And then we can attach that, I think, down here. There. So I'll glue that. I'll grab another glue. That one's driving me mad. And we'll pop this on as well. I'm just going to glue this. I haven't put it on dimensionals, but you know, it's entirely up to you if you like that look for this particular card. I think it just looks nice sitting there, just like that. Cool. So thanks. Quite lovely. Alright, so that is how I'm going to start using the pages from my daughter-in-law's discarded books inners. I think that's quite nice, and I'll just show you some other ones that I've done. So that's there. Nothing inside at the moment, but we could always put that. So that's one with Good Morning Magnolia. And I did some others early on. I'm just trying to find them here now. This is the first one I did. This one uses the Forever Blossoms from the new catalogue, so that's quite nice as well. And I've given a little gold ribbon. Just take that away a bit, it's taking up the screen. Same sort of deal. I went around it with the Merry Merlot on the dauber, and got the little You Mean So Much to Me there. So that one's quite nice as well. Same sort of principle with the water colouring there. What else have I done? This one I've used the Christmas Time Is Coming stamp set, which is just a shout out to anyone who was still thinking of buying that one. That actually finishes, the last day to buy it is the 30th of November. Yeah, so only in a couple of days, maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow is your last chance to grab this one if you like it. So that's basically the beautiful flowers. And I have watercoloured the larger parts, the larger elements of that, and I've used blends on the more finer detail, plus a little bit of ribbon and one of the sentiments. So that one's quite nice as well. So it's a Christmas one there. And what else did I do? Oh, this one. This is using the Free as a Bird stamp set. So I've used just a little portion of the piece of paper there, and I've ripped it. So I did stamped our birds obviously, and coloured them with blends. They're supposed to be robin redbreasts, but I've never seen a robin redbreast, so that's my approximation of a robin redbreast. Sitting on a little branch, and I've ripped it. So it's a sort of and then ripped some Merry Merlot and popped it onto a grey with Your Friendship Means the World to Me. So I think that's quite cute as well. So that's Free as a Bird, and that's actually available in the annual catalogue as well, so they're current products. Okay, one more I did, or at least I started. I wasn't too sure about it. This is one of the designs from Flourishing Phrases. So I've actually stamped that and coloured that with blends. So I haven't quite finished that one yet. We'll see how that one turns out. Anyway. Okay, so I think that is all I wanted to show you today. Izzy will be producing lots and lots and lots of pages of books. So if anyone wants to grab 20 pages, just so you can try this and not have to do it to destroy books of your own or go out and buy them, I'm just happy to send you some pages if you like. They'd just be rough cut out like that. You'd have to trim them down, but if you would like to send me a self-addressed envelope, I'm happy to pop 10-20 pages of books in them for you if you would like to. And if that appeals, just send me a message and I'll send you my address, because I'm going to have plenty of them. I'm going to be up to my eyebrows in them, I think. So thanks for joining me today, guys. That's basically all I have to show you. Got the beautiful current products with the Good Morning Magnolia, as I say, currently available. The Forever Blossoms, which is soon to be available. And this wonderful technique with the old books. So anyway, as I say, send me a message if you'd like some pages. I'll give you my address and you can send me an envelope, a self-addressed stamped envelope, and I'm happy to send you some back. Anyway, so have a great Friday, have a great weekend, and I will catch you all next week. Okay, bye guys.